This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." Verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 7 through 8, is that I was talking with my wife about an hour ago regarding her country. My wife and her sister are going to Bolivia to see their mother. And my wife was telling me how she has to bring food, money to her mom because there's a lack of American dollars in Bolivia, and the food prices are sky high. Okay. She was telling me how a powder of milk here in the States is $20, but in Bolivia it's $80. Okay. So there's a famine hitting Bolivia. Okay. And it reminded me of Revelation chapter 6, verse 7 through 8, because hey, this is prophecy being fulfilled. Okay, first let's focus on where this famine is located at. Okay, so let's read this again. Revelation chapter 6, verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." Verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. Now, let's find out where the fourth part of the earth is. Now, I just typed in Google, what is the fourth part of the earth? The fourth part of the world historically refers to Americas, specifically North and South America. There you go. So that's the fourth part of the earth. It's talking about the Western Hemisphere, North and South America. Okay? So the prophecies are on point. Okay? And this is why the Lord set up, all right, the prophets coming out of, all right, the nation of Israel to break these scriptures down the right way. Okay? Because you wacky, tacky plantation Christians can't break this down. You have no idea what the hell is going on. All right? You see death and hell, and you get confused with hell. You thinking it's some underground layer with a man with a pitchfork running around. Okay? No, hell represents, all right, the grave, okay, or the pit, or a condition. Okay? And a lot of these people, okay, in South America are catching hell. All right? Especially when it comes to hunger pains. They're experiencing the Hunger Games. Okay? So let's read this again. The fourth part of the world, or the fourth part of the earth, historically refers to the Americas, specifically North and South America. For centuries, Europeans recognized only three continents: Europe, Africa, and Asia. Right? You notice how it says Europeans? Because again, who was ruling? All right? These Edomites. Okay? It's these so-called white people. All right? So they're basing their what's it called, geography according to their um, science, so called, right? Which means to know. Europeans recognize only three continents: Europe, Africa, and Asia. The discovery and mapping of the Americas, originally thought to be part of Asia, led to the recognition of a fourth distinct landmass. Okay? And King Solomon knew about the Americas. Okay? King Solomon always knew about the western part of the world. Okay? Now, of course, it wasn't called America. All right. In the Apocrypha, it's known as the land of Ozarith. In fact, even the Jewish Encyclopedia tells you this. I'm just going to get this: Jewish Encyclopedia Ozarith. Look at that; it already pops up. Jewish Encyclopedia. Okay. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses. Right, the 10 tribes, talking about you so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Okay, all right. We make up the 10 tribes. Okay, Ephraim all the way down. Okay, to Issachar. Okay, observing the law of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to, I mean, here it is. Okay, here it is. It says the fourth book of Esdras, or if you go to Apocrypha, the second Esdras. Okay, chapter 13, verse 45. Columbus identified America with this land, right? Okay, and so did King Solomon, but King Solomon didn't call it America. Okay, and Christopher Columbus didn't call it America either. All right, he was going off of the Bible, off of Esdras. Okay, he used the Bible to locate, okay, this great landmass and locate the tribes. That's why he brought a Hebrew interpreter, Luis del Torres. Look it up. Okay, but this is coming out of the Jewish Encyclopedia. Okay. Just want to throw in that history. All right. And if you get 2nd Esdras chapter 13, verse 45 in the Apocrypha, it talks about Ozarith. Okay. Where no mankind dwelt. All right. And that's how you know the Israelites, we were there first, because we came over to the land. We came over to the Western Hemisphere. Okay. Because we knew about this, we knew about the earth was round. We knew about this territory. Okay? So let's go back. Just lesson with the lessons. So let's read this article. Again, my wife told me that her country is experiencing a food crisis. Okay? And this is all part of prophecy. And, she's bringing food and bringing American dollars to her mother so that her mother can continue to buy the things she needs. All right, because the American dollar is the most sought out dollar in Bolivia. People are fighting to get American dollars. All right, because there's a reason why the American dollar is depleting in this parts of the world, because everything's going digital. Okay, that's why. Real quickly, I brought this out. Have to bring it out again. Where's the article? Bolivia turns to crypto for energy imports amid dollar and fuel shortages. You see that? This is why crypto, all right, is not going away. Be not ignorant in a great matter or a small matter. Okay? All right, and I'm fortunate that the Lord blessed me to have a wife that comes from a third world country. So I'm getting the inside scoop of what's going on in these third world countries. All right, firsthand. All right, where they call third world country. Esau calls it. All right. But the point is, this is why everything's going to crypto. You see? So thousands of miners protesting a biting economic crisis marked by fuel shortages brought Bolivia's administration capital, La Paz, all right, and this is where my wife's from, La Paz, to a standstill on Wednesday. Okay. Now, the country of Bolivia, the people there are from the tribe of Asher, okay, or Ashar in the Hebrew, which means happy, okay, but they ain't happy now. They're suffering, all right, because again, this is this is the Lord bringing about judgment, because the bulk of the people in Bolivia are still stuck on Roman Catholicism, okay, and there is a camp out there. There is a camp, a GMS camp in La Paz. I do know that. That teaches the truth to a standstill on Wednesday. The helmeted miners marched through the city and blocked avenues leading to the center. Bolivia, producer of silver, zinc, lithium, and tin, has for months been crippled by a shortage of dollars, which has left the country teetering on the brink of economic collapse. The lack of hard currency has led to shortages of imported fuel, causing prices of goods to soar and agriculture and mining output to plummet. There you go. Okay? And this is a Bolivian. This is what's going on in Bolivia. This is what the hell that they're experiencing. Okay, the famine. So let me play this because it has like a translation at the bottom. So you just read, just read for yourself, man. Okay, and don't mind the music. It's a little creepy, but hey, we're living in horrific times. You know, you Jakes, you playing games, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans playing games with the Lord gonna get you, okay? He's the one. Look, hold up. Before I play this, hold up. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 19. Behold. Okay, behold. Whoa, we gotta start up here. 2nd Esdras chapter 18. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Right, and this is Esdras, okay, a prophet, an Israelite prophet who saw the end times. That's why he said, what shall he do when these evils come? Because he knew he would be coming back. This is talking about reincarnation, okay, which you wacky-tacky plantation Christians can't understand, okay? We constantly are coming back. You play out your judgment on earth, okay? Judgment is played out on earth. This is why we don't want to have any dealings with you wacky-tacky plantation Christians, because you don't know nothing, okay? All right? Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and I believe it's the 16th verse right here. Just get to the point. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Right. So the key part is, all right, under the sun. Aren't we under the sun? So this is where the place of judgment is at. You have wickedness there, and you have righteousness. Okay? All right? And people are going to be judged for being wicked. Okay? And pushing forth nothing but iniquity. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 17. I said in my heart, meaning the mind, the Most High power Yahweh shall judge the righteous and the wicked. For there's a time there for every purpose and for every work. Right. And so people are being judged, all right, on earth. Okay. This is where judgment is plays out on earth, not underground. Once again, not a red devil-looking creature that you see in the damn movies running around with a pitchfork, with a triton. You know, I think it's called a triton. Let me double check. Triton. Poker, right? No, image it. Triton. Did I say it right? Triton pitchfork. A triton. No, that's not it. A triton pitchfork. Bear with me. Yeah, there it is. A trident. My bad. I said it wrong. Trident. Trident. There we go. Okay? Which this goes back to Greek mythology, as you can see. Mythology. All right? The trident pitchfork goes back to Greek mythology, which you wacky-tacky plantation Christians okay, worship, okay, the devil glitter pitchfork. This is all mythology. This is bullshit, man. This is not in the scriptures. But you got wacky tacky plantation Christians thinking that, okay, this guy is running around underground, okay, torturing people. People are you know what? Plantation Christianity is a um is a basket case. Plantation Christianity, for lack of better words, um, is you're psychotic. You need to belong in a sane a sane asylum. Okay, you need to be Baker acted. Plantation. That's a lesson right there. Plantation Christians need to be Baker acted because they're clearly psychotic. They're clearly are gone in the mind. I'm trying to be PC in my dialogue. It's late. I don't feel like dropping the F bomb right now. Okay? But you're effing retarded. Okay? Anyway, so let's go back. Okay? Lesson within lesson within lesson. Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right. So, the reason why the Lord's sending the famine into Bolivia is to get the people to repent and to acknowledge their power. Okay? But the bulk of them will not. Because, again, you have to be of the elect. And the elect is a very small number. It is what it is. It's the facts, man. Okay? We hear the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Shai. We are realists. We deal with reality. We understand that only the elect are going to repent and seek the Lord. The bulk of our people are going to perish. It is what it is. 20. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Right. Here it is in Bolivia. They're catching hell, but they're not acknowledging that they're committing, sin. They're missing the mark. They're not obeying the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. They're not acknowledging, all right, who their power is. They're not even acknowledging. A lot of them are not even acknowledging that they're Israelites. They're not acknowledging that the Lord and Savior is a so-called black man. Okay, they're not acknowledging that, so they're catching hell. All right, 20. I read that. 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. Well, we're past this. All right, this prophecy has already passed. Okay, goods are not cheap anymore. Everything's expensive. From Babylon the Great all the way to these third world countries, everything's expensive. That they shall think themselves to be in good case. This is past. All right, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth, that includes, over here in the Western Hemisphere, the fourth part of the world, or the fourth part of the earth. That's why I brought out Revelation chapter 6, verse 7 and 8. This includes the people dwelling over here in the Western Hemisphere, in the Americas. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Right, because in the wars, all right, there's going to be a lot of civil wars. So, well, look, over there in Bolivia, let's play it. All right, people are protesting. They're breaking things. They're destroying things because, all right, they're hungry. And they're losing their livelihood. So let's play this. And don't mind the music. It's creepy, but this is... that was the closest news I can find to Bolivia. In a short time that I had.
Thousands of demonstrators blocked streets in La Paz on Wednesday, April 23rd, demanding action to resolve the deepening economic crisis that has caused the fastest price increases in almost 20 years. The crisis is being driven by a severe shortage of food and US dollars.
Again, it's all by design too, because they got to get people into digital cryptocurrency for what? The RFID chip, the mark of the beast. We had great millstone to the spirit power Yahweh Bashim Shai. We got the truth, man. We've been telling y'all. All right, this is how they're going to get people to take that chip. First, they got to get cash out, get them into crypto, and then they're going to say RFID chip. He calls it all. That's the whole world, and you can see it. Okay, it's all being done, but at the end of the day, it's all part of prophecy. But that's the reason why, because it's got to go into the crypto. All right, that's why to our people that dwell here in America. All right, the world doesn't revolve around your little small community, okay, your little hood, all right, your little state, okay. There's a bigger world out there, okay. All right, the world, that's the thing about our people living here in Babylon the Great America. You think you're okay, that the world revolves around you. All right, you live in this little bubble and you don't see what's going on outside of the country, okay. But guess what? The Lord set up prophets, all right, to remind you, okay, that, all right, in these other countries, man, people are catching hell. And that hell is coming to America very soon. All right, let's keep playing.
Two major marches were held in the capital calling for immediate solutions. Miners voiced frustration over skyrocketing prices of explosives, a critical resource for their work. Under the banner March Against Poverty, the multi-sector demonstration brought together farmers and workers from various industries, highlighting a food shortage that is impacting the ongoing harvest season. Minister of Mining and Metallurgy Alejandro Santos.
You see how they're walking around? Okay? You people in America, you got it very easy. That's why when you complain about things are getting expensive, you know what I say? Fuck you. Because you ain't moving like this in these third world countries. Okay? I have no sympathy, all right, for complaining Americans. All right? I really don't. Okay? Stop living above your means. Okay? All right? Stop looking at other people of what they have. Okay? Stop coveting. That's why I have no sympathy for you Americans. I have no sympathy for you Jakes that complain about, oh, things are getting expensive. Okay? Because you haven't been paying attention to what's going on in the world lately, have you? Okay? It's time to wake up. It's time to grow the fuck up. That's what it is. All right? And this event right here is coming to America. Best believe it. You're going to be pilgrims just walking around. You see that book bag just walking around. Okay? You know how you always, you Americans, you always like to reference movies, right? These end of day movies like Mad Max, okay, the Book of Eli. Well, people are experiencing those type of scenarios right now in 2025. To our people that live in Babylon the Great America, grow up. Get ready. Keep playing.
Stated that the National Federation of Mining Cooperative of Bolivia has suspended dialogue effort until they could meet directly with President Luis Arce.
That's enough. All right. So Ecclesiasticus, also known as the Book of Sirach, chapter 40, verse 9. Death and bloodshed, strife and sore calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. 10. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sake came the flood. Right. Nothing new under the sun. All right. What was happening in the time of Noah is happening again. Okay. The same thing. Okay. Only this time, well, mainly here in America, Babylon the Great, is fire going to hit this place. All right, but those nuclear missiles hitting America, the whole world's going to shake, where buildings are going to collapse all throughout the world. Okay, and people are going to feel it. People are going, all right, to be devastated by these the nuclear destruction that's going to hit America, because it's going to affect the whole world. So, got to bring out another one. Hold up. Let me open this up. Let me bring this out. Check this out. Is it this one? No, I thought it was in. Let me see something. Hold on. Spirits created. There we go. Apocrypha. Oh yeah, it was a chapter before. Ecclesiasticus, also known as the Book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sword strokes. In the time of the destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them right. So, who made, all right, spirits created for vengeance? Who the world English calls God. All right? His name is Yahweh. That's why he's known as the Father of spirits. Okay? 29. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Plain. 30. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. Yup. 31. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Right. That's why you got to fear the Lord, because the creator of heaven and earth, all right, he's giving out judgment, okay? And it's really his son, because he gave all power and authority to Yahweh Shai, all right? And that's why Yahweh Shai is our mediator, all right? It's only through Yahweh Shai we can be saved. That's why Yahweh Shai's resurrection, what Yahweh Shai did for us, is so important. So all you clowns talking about, all right, you're not supposed to worship Yahweh Shai, well then who is your, all right, advocate, okay, from the Lord's wrath, from his Father's wrath? That's why, to you pseudo-Hebrew Israelites, a lot of y'all gonna get it, man. Talking about don't worship Yahweh Shai. Without Yahweh Shai, we would not be protected, okay? Because all authority, okay, comes through Yahweh Shai from his Father, okay? And the angels are constantly judging daily, okay? Look, check this out. I want to show y'all something, man. You know, how many people die per minute? On average, approximately 105 people die each minute globally. This translates to nearly 2 deaths per second. That's why you got to fear the Lord, man. So, Lord willing, that's edifying. Again, I was inspired to do this lesson because my wife just told me, you know, basically she has to just bring food and some money to her mother, and because of what's going on over there. I just found out. I was like, oh shoot. So, you know, it's affecting everyone. The shortages, the fuel shortages, the dollar shortages, and food prices are going up. All right, but again, okay, this is all judgment from the Lord. Okay, this is part of prophecy. Prophecy has to be fulfilled, and this is a good example. So, Lord willing, let's edify. I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Makakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the 4 corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep the door, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. As you can see, we're almost out of here. Clearly, judgment is happening on earth. It's only going to get worse. Things are going to get tighter. And if you call yourself a seer or prophet, you should know that things are going to get tighter. So move accordingly. Be responsible. Don't, okay, be an idiot. And for the few sisters that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, cover shalom.